something has shifted with Candace Owens. And if you've been watching closely, you can see the exact moment that it happened. Candace has always trafficked in controversy. That's her job. But ever since Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in September, something inside her cracked. Within weeks, Candace wasn't just arguing with liberals. She was accusing Israel of killing Charlie Kirk, the FBI of covering up plots, billionaires of threatening him, and the French government of trying to assassinate her. And what's spilling out now is less of her normal political commentary and something a lot more sinister, and honestly, a lot more concerning. The unraveling of Candace Owens. To understand how she ended up here, you have to start with the issue that shattered her career long before Charlie Kirk was shot.
My view is that, Judaism is a faith, Israel is a state, it is not above critique, and that what Bibi Netanyahu has done to the Palestinians since October 7th is a Holocaust.
It's the fight that ended her relationship with the Daily Wire.
I wish the best to the Daily Wire. I wouldn't change a single thing.
It's the issue she and Charlie never fully agreed on.
A child who knows that Israel is the good guy, Hamas is bad, has a lot more wisdom than a student like yourself at Cambridge University.
And it's the thing she now believes is tied to his assassination.
There were, for whatever reason, 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground at Utah Valley University the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
Candace later claimed that in August of 2025, Charlie told people that he was pressured and even threatened by billionaire investor Bill Ackman during a meeting in the Hamptons about his comments on Israel and Gaza.
An intervention was staged by Bill Ackman because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made.
But Ackman denied it outright. At no time have I ever threatened Charlie Kirk, Turning Point, or anyone associated with him. But Candace turns this alleged moment into a much larger narrative. Charlie criticized Israel, Charlie was threatened. Charlie felt unsafe, Charlie was killed. It became the emotional glue of her spiraling. Because once she believed that Israel killed Charlie for speaking the truth, it wasn't long before she believed they were coming for her next. The Kirk-Owens dynamic. Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk weren't just like colleagues. They toured together with Turning Point USA. They grew famous together. They sat in endless green rooms and airport lounges, prepping speeches and feeding off each other's energy. People genuinely saw them as a pair, different personalities of the same project. So when Charlie was killed on stage at Utah Valley University, this wasn't just a political earthquake. For Candace, it was like the core pillar of her life had been shattered.
I will never unsee the footage of what I saw, the violence of it. I pray for the people who took any pleasure in that. I would never, there's not a single person in the world that I would wish that on.
But then pretty quickly posted, be very wary and suspicious of the people who are already telling us to stop asking questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination. Suspicion took over grief, and she just went straight into full investigation mode. From here, the unraveling really begins.
I was not invited to speak alongside President Trump and J.D. Vance on the stage with Tucker Carlson at a memorial event. What does this have to do with anything? The answer is it has to do with nothing. They're working on a narrative like they always do. They're coming in, they're squeezing, and they're trying to pretend that Charlie and I didn't speak for years. It could not be further from the truth.
This was a major rupture. The movement that she helped build, the people she defended, suddenly closed ranks without her. She has shared a different old message, a real one, where Charlie said, "Since the beginning of TPUSA, I knew in my gut that I might get wiped out at any time." Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson did confirm that Charlie was frustrated with Netanyahu, but only Candace turned this into an assassination plot, some massive scheme behind the scenes. And from here, the spiral just continues. The theories keep coming. Once the Israel theory took shape in her mind, everything started to become connected. She claimed the footage from the shooting never existed. She suggested that someone faked evidence to frame the shooter. Candace publicly questioned whether Charlie's widow was behaving normally, saying,
"There's two things. She could be on autopilot, and some people could be reading that the wrong way and thinking, oh, well, she's not acting right. Okay, is she on autopilot because she fears something?"
This was a turning point because it's mean. It's mean to judge somebody's behavior and then decide it's because there's some sort of plot against them. It's also just quite odd. Sounding a little hypocritical from me, but not from random punters or political commentators. But for Candace, there's your dead friend's wife. Read the room, girl, you know. But people noticed and recoiled when a French rumor became Candace's obsession. The Brigitte Macron conspiracy is the clearest example of how far Candace has drifted. She didn't invent it, but she did globalize it. And yes, she's been talking about it for a while, but bear with me. The Brigitte Macron is secretly a man conspiracy began back in 2021, a 4-hour video by French bloggers Amandine Roy and Natasha Ray. It stayed French until Candace picked it up. In March 2024, she said, "I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man." She then released an 8-part podcast series, Becoming Brigitte, platforming the original conspiracy theorists. France responded hard. Over the last year, French prosecutors are charging people with gender-based harassment. Brigitte Macron's daughter testified that the abuse had deteriorated her mother's health. But Candace is different. She took it international. So the Macrons filed a 250-page defamation lawsuit in the United States. Their lawyer said they were prepared to submit photographic evidence, scientific evidence, pregnancy photos, all to prove that Brigitte Macron is in fact a cisgendered woman. Imagine the humiliation. A 72-year-old grandmother forced to gather pregnancy photos because an American podcaster insisted that she was secretly a man. I mean, talk about their weird age gap. Why are you transvestigating the First Lady of France? Here we're seeing real-world consequences of Candace's words, real-life hurt inflicted on somebody else. And that's important now that she's spiraling, because now Candace has once again turned it into a murder plot. She began claiming the French government wanted her dead, alleging French intelligence was running an active operation against her. The lawsuit was a cover for something darker. European officials were sending a message. As far as I know, France does not assassinate American podcasters. There is zero historical basis for that. And this is such a leap. I mean, you defamed someone a bunch of times. They sued you, deservedly, and now you think they're trying to assassinate you? It's so extreme that even her usual allies have stayed silent. What is actually happening to her? Candace Owens is isolated, and isolation is gasoline for paranoia. And say what you want about Candace, and believe me, there is a lot to say, but you can't deny she's a talented broadcaster. She works hard, she researches hard, she's articulate, self-assured, she's fearless, honestly, far too fearless for her own good. But she is also a woman who watched her friend die on camera, probably replayed the clip over and over. Grief like that does something to a person, especially someone already operating at her level of intensity. And instead of support, the conservative world closed its doors. She wasn't invited to Charlie's memorial. She was pushed further to the fringe, and then she was rewarded online for spiraling. That is a dangerous combination, because when very smart, very intense people with really big platforms feel sidelined, betrayed, punished, misunderstood, alone, their thinking can tip into grand conspiracies. Conspiracies feel like clarity. Conspiracies feel like control. Conspiracies feel like justice when the world feels chaotic. She's trying to explain why a friend was taken from her, and she can't. What we're watching isn't just a political radicalization, it's a psychological unraveling happening in real time. And she's always been saying crazy stuff, and she's always liked a conspiracy, but at the moment she really thinks there are multiple assassination plots against her and other people she knows, and I don't think people should be encouraging her right now. And there are real consequences coming. The French lawsuit could force her under oath. Her conspiracies may isolate her even further from conservative media or anyone in her life who could say, hey, calm down. Her audience may drag her deeper into this loop, and her audiences listen to her. So the real question is, does Candace Owens truly believe she is being hunted by governments, billionaires, foreign intelligence agencies, and the widow of her dead friend? Because if she does, that's not commentary or strategy or a brand. That's a woman who is just not okay. And whether you agree with her or not, let's just say not, it's hard not to see the through line here. A friend died, a community closed its doors, and Candace Owens stepped into a world where everything is suddenly connected and everyone is after her. It's sad. Sorry. I don't want to sit here being super nice to Candace. She says really crazy stuff, but like, do you know what I mean? If you want more breakdowns on how power, paranoia, and politics collide in this crazy year of 2025, then make sure you subscribe, because this is not the last conservative influencer to have a spiral, but you know, it might be the most dramatic. And hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's right. Maybe these governments are out to get her and I'm being judgmental. Let me know in the comments. If you want more, check out my deep dive into Charlie Kirk. Bye.